Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's episode. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. Here's Alday.
What is going on with the sad batch? Welcome back, Islanders. Do not worry about the clickbaity title. I will explain absolutely everything. But today, we're going to talk about what is going on with the new bad batch. Or the sad batch. It's not their fault. We're going to break down the kit. Let's start at the start. Okay, so this week or last week, CG are now rolling out and adding Crosshair into the game. Crosshair, much loved character, really people looking forward to it coming, and everyone was surprised that it wasn't even in the first Bad Batch team, but having seen the Bad Batch, it made a lot of sense why not. So, Crosshair finally joined the new Bad Batch team. Everyone very excited about that character. People postulated it could be a legendary, it could be something like that, but no, it just turned out to be a normal marquee, and we now have the entirety of the new Bad Batch team. And it is a fun team. It is a team that people are excited by. Well, no, they're not. It's a team that has some good mechanics, let's just put it that way. They have a captured mechanic where instead of dying, people get captured, and then you fulfill a sort of a contract, shall we say, and if you manage to get enough things by this time, then they get released. So they have that sort of thing about them. So I think in time, they're going to end up being a relatively interesting team. But we have so many interesting teams in the game at the moment. Actually, we probably have too many. But we'll talk about that in the next stream. But we'll talk about that later. They also ensured there was no mix and match, ensuring that this single debuff that you have to get, this single win condition you need to get people out of capture, is only done by the new characters, means there's no way really to mix and match with the old Bad Batch, apart from maybe one or two small substitutions, but those are never going to be as good as the two teams separately. Now, what's this video really about? Why are they called the Sad Batch? Well, nobody is excited about this team. And there's a number of reasons for that. Firstly, well, where are they maybe in the game? Are they they're probably a B tier team. They're definitely not a GL team. They'll probably take down a GL or a certain GL in a certain counter, but we haven't really seen that too much because we're just moving into 5s now. But essentially, this team is probably around the level of a Tria. And you know what? In 2025, if you're launching 5 marquee characters, we need better than a Tria level team. In fact, I'd argue that this team is maybe not as good as Tria, and Tria came to the game, 5-6 years ago. So this team has some interesting mechanics, will find some utility, but it's being launched into a world where people are not that interested. You look at the views of other content creators on the launch of these characters, the kit reveals, every single one of them is lower than all the other videos around it. People are just looking at this team going, no, not for me, not for me. And today we're going to break down the real problem. And the real problem of this is that there is no event attached to this team. So the value, if you want to call it that, the value of a team is a mixture between how much fun it is to play, how much you identify with those characters, how much you love those characters, and how good those are going to be a difference for you in GAC and PvP, but also how many additional rewards are you going to get specifically for having those characters. And that's where the problem kind of falls off. We had it when they talked about it, where they had to cancel a special event which was designed for this team due to bandwidth issues. Now, people postulated that could have been the raid, and we'll talk a little bit about that later. But even if it was just a simple one of those R9, you get these certain reward type characters, that would have been just as good. But to be honest, what they said was, look, due to bandwidth issues, we're just not going to do this. So that's removed a lot of value from this team, and in fact, a lot of reason to ever have the team, is probably being removed by that missing event. Now, whether we'll get that event in the future doesn't really matter, because the FOMO of not having these characters day one or not having these characters as soon as possible is kind of past. So the raid is an issue. Again, we'll talk about it later. But let's just look back to the series itself. Let's talk about the characters. So Bad Batch Season 1 was great. We all sat down there, we all enjoyed it. But the pickup for Season 2 and the pickup for Season 3 is nowhere near as much as many people watched Season 1. The hype and buzz that maybe Disney had and Disney Plus had for people consuming everything on there and really excited kind of waned by Season 2 and Season 3. I have to say, actually, Season 2 is a masterpiece. It is a much, much better season than Season 1. It is very good. Season 3 carries on at that, and therefore you actually start to introduce some better characters, some more iconic stuff. I would have said that Season 2 and Season 3 of Bad Batch are better, and I would encourage people to watch it, but the fact is not a lot of people watched it. So ultimately you kind of lose a lot of that hype about a specific character, maybe not as beloved, shall we say. Let's talk about the raid. Okay, so if the raid had been designed for the Bad Batch characters, and this team in particular, then the fact that the raid has been delayed is a real kick in the teeth. We also have the same issue with the GLAT, Galactic Association of Tanus, or GL Ahsoka Tano. None of these characters have new events, and this is all getting lost, I believe, in this bandwidth issue. This is getting a real issue for the game, because we're getting these new characters, we've been asked to farm them, but there is no guarantee that they're going to have anywhere near as much utility or value in the game as Jabba the Hutt, who gets you mod materials. Dr. Aphra has TB missions, as indeed does Jabba. We see Merrin having a TB mission as well. We see Mandalorian Bo-Katan having a TB mission. There is no guarantee that any of these will get a planet or a TB mission, and with the bandwidth issues being there, these are all going to be delayed. So the value of all these new characters is significantly lower than having the old characters. So to every single person watching, do not farm these over something old. Go for the thing that has a guaranteed value, has a guaranteed utility in the game. Don't bother going for this new team. And indeed, let's look at the only reason you might actually want to farm these characters. Well, you farm them for that little progress chapter pass, that little thing at the bottom of the screen, which gets you that little brown hexagon things, the currency. Now, if you buy one of these characters, or if you hit a lucky drop, or if you buy the episode pass, you get an awful lot more progress inside that. In fact, you get a massive progress. And when you get to the end of that, all you get is these 5,000 more currencies to spend on a shop that is locked by refresh timing. So you kind of don't have a solution. You don't have something you can kind of go, well, ooh, I got 40,000 more of that currency, because currency ends up being virtually worthless. And it's also a gamble as to what you get when you get there, and really what you get doesn't really merit the investment. So in the next video, which will be dropping I think in 24 hours time, we're going to drop in a next video in 24 hours where we will actually give a proper fix to this. But for this video in isolation, I'm going to give you a short-term fix, or a fix that CG should definitely employ. And this is actually to remove the 5,000 currency you get at the end in that final crate. Remove that. Replace it with one shard of a new character. The more times you refresh that 5,000, the more shards of that character you get. You would need to do it 330 times to actually unlock the character, and you will see people striving to get as many of this currency as you possibly can. You don't even need to make it a meta-defining character, you could just make it a little lifter character. And you know what? Be absolutely perfect. I think everyone would love that, everyone would engage with it, people would be more excited about farming the new characters to get more of that currency, because the new characters really matter. Anyone that's out there who are unlocking Riva or on that Riva grind, they value every single additional shard they get because it's going to take them 20 months or 10 months depending on what guild they're in. So that's my short fix. Short fix? Change the 5,000 to 1 shard of a new character. Get rid of one of your marquees that's coming up, one of your planned marquees in the future. Get rid of that and switch it out and make it a reward over the next year in that thing. You know, even have it a rolling reward so that when you finish character A, you move on to character B, or start making it like a random drop. Look, you guys know what you're doing, but that would be my solution to get people more excited. Start making that thing at the bottom, that progress bar, make it mean something. Make it getting to the end mean something other than just getting more and more rewards. And why would I say that? Well, because at the moment, adding the sad batch into the game really has... Nobody's going to get any more rewards by getting this character. Nobody's going to win any more GACs. Nobody's going to find this meta team that nobody's ever seen before. The fact is, yes, they'll be boosted by a Datacron or two in the short term, but you know, ultimately, they're not going to make that big difference. And that's the problem with GAC, the problem with the most popular game mode that we all like playing, or a lot of us like playing. There is no utility to it. So, in the next video, which will probably drop in 24 hours time or less, I will let you know, that video will permanently propose a fix to GAC and we'll lay it out in detail. So until next time, Islanders, I know I was talking to all of it here and I know it was a slightly sort of negative. We kind of covered this a lot before, but I thought it'd be nice to kind of lay it all out. And, you know, why I am bothering with this team. I'll get them eventually, but I can't guarantee any of you should. So, till next time, Islanders, have a great one and look after yourself. And don't be sad. Be the sad batch.